always hit my head on this one ball. Hello and welcome to my sewing vlog. I never really know how to start a YouTube video and I don't want to talk too much, so I'm basically just going to work on a couple projects today that are simple, that are easy to get done in a couple days, because lately I've been overcomplicating things in my own head and in my work, and I've been doing projects that are kind of cool but also like crazy time intensive, so I end up not really liking what I end up doing. So anyway, today is going to be much less complicated. Alrighty, first things first. I'm gonna make a plaid dress because plaid is the most perfect pattern for fall, and it's also one of the most perfect patterns ever invented. I really like squares and straight lines. I think they're super cool. So I have this piece of plaid. It's from this plaid fabric that I have. I actually have a decent amount of this plaid fabric. I got it at the thrift store. It feels like a linen blend to me. I actually have not checked the tag, but it feels very nice, and I am going to see if I can sew tulle on top of it along the grid that's already in the fabric, and I'm going to switch up thread colors, switch up stitch type, stitch length, stitch width, so it should be kind of funky and cool. I've actually already started this project. Oh, and here's the tulle that I'm going to be using. It's my favorite color of tulle at the moment. It's this magenta pink. And then my dress. Okay, so far it just looks like a little bit of throw up on the front of the dress, but I haven't really done a whole lot. It's not even put together at the shoulder seams, just at the side seams. So we will see if this works. If it doesn't work, oh well, you got to see me try something new. But if it does work, I have a feeling it could be kind of cool. So we'll give it a go, see what happens. Literally every part of my studio right now is a disaster. Debating if I would want to do other colors of tulle or just stick with the pink. Honestly, I'll just do pink and white and light pinks. It's quite helpful to pin the tulle in just a couple spots before you sew it on, just because it needs something to hold it in place. I'm an idiot and I realized I actually saved tulle scraps, so I'll be using these for the rest of the tulle needed for this dress. I think these are all from my wedding petticoat, but what can one do with these? You can actually sew them onto other fabric. Here's where we're at. I just don't know how I feel about it. Is it weird? I mean, it's definitely weird, but is it cool weird or weird? I do like it. I like the colors. I just think it needs to be like solidified. It needs to be less lumpy and be basted in place much more thoroughly. So the question is, do I do that with thread or do I do some yarn applique on this dress? I think I'm gonna put this away for a little bit, think about what I wanna do next, and start on my yarn romper. So for my romper, this is the fabric that I'm going to be using. It's just a knit polyester, and I don't have a tag or anything. My friend gave this to me. Very pretty color, and I've picked out some yarns that I think will go quite nicely and contrast it very well. Just editing Jane here, I realized in this video I never clarified what I meant by yarn romper. So I really like to sew yarn onto fabric using my sewing machine. This is technically called couching. I do know that. I just don't like that word because it sounds very similar to a word that's kind of gross. So it's called couching. You can do this by hand. You can do it with your machine. I just use a zigzag stitch and it creates a pretty cool effect. So that was my plan for this romper. I really think these four yarns will go nicely. Their red is obviously complementary to green, and these are all in the red family. My plan for the romper is to not do wavy lines like I've done in the past, but to do a grid of some sort to make my own plaid. This video is really just about plaid dresses, so we'll see if I can accomplish that. I think first I need to make the romper, and I need to find the pattern that I've used to make this romper. This is where I keep my patterns. They're not organized. I think I have everything I need right here. Romper shorts pattern, and I'm gonna use the bodice block from this Vogue pattern. It's Vogue 2326. Pretty simple shirt waist dress. A lot of people have asked me for the pattern for this romper that I'm about to create online, and I don't sell patterns because I don't know how to grade them. It is a skill I would love to learn, but not at this point. So I just wanted to take a second to talk about my pattern pieces for this romper if you wanted to try to replicate them at home. I essentially have a back inside and front inside piece for the bottom of the romper. I personally have a butt, so I have a pretty wide crotch, or I have a pretty long crotch seam, and I'm actually going to lengthen this just a tiny bit for this pattern because my other romper goes on my butt a little bit. I just want it to be a little bit more comfortable. And then I have back outside and front outside piece. I also have these little triangles that I cut in order to give the romper a bit more flair. I cut 4 of these on the fold, and I insert these in between the outside and inside pieces for the front and the back. I don't put one at the side seam, but you could if you wanted to. As for the bodice, I'm just using a pretty simple bodice block and back bodice block, and I'm not doing any sleeves, and I'm not gonna do a collar. So hope that helps. Let's get sewing. Okay, I'm actually going to lengthen the front crotch as well as the back crotch, and I think I'm not going to do these little triangular inserts for my new romper. I'm just going to add a little bit of a curve to my pattern pieces so that there's a little bit of flair, but just not that much, and it should be good. Since I'm making a few changes to my pattern, I'm just gonna do my lining first, which is this cotton bed sheet, and if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit. I'm not wasting any of my good fabric. I think I've created a short that I like, and I have a bodice, so I'm ready to cut out my real fabric and get started sewing this romper. If it doesn't work out, like I said, I'm not gonna be upset about it because this is a video about anti-stress sewing and just enjoying the process, which I need to work on because I recently graduated college and I've just been putting everything into this, and whenever projects don't work out, I feel very downhearted and sad, but there's no need to be because sewing is fun and I still learn stuff every time, which is really the goal at this point in my life. Why do I even have a desk if it's always a mess? Lord, it is. I like to clean up at the end of projects, not at the beginning. What's nice about having 2 projects to work on during a day and during a vlog is that I can switch between the 2 of them whenever I get tired of one. I don't know if that makes me less productive or if that's kind of a cop-out to working all day, but it works for me. I kind of love it, like it's looking so good. Dress is complete. I'm just gonna serge the edges of everything and then cut a facing and attach everything together, the dress, the facing, and then put in a zipper, and it should be good. I'm not gonna line this one because the inside of it doesn't look that bad. You can't really tell that there's, well, you can tell that there's stitching, but it's really not super noticeable, and it's thick enough to be a dress. Sometimes I add linings and I kind of regret it because then it makes the garment too thick. So I think it's good. I like the ruched effect. It's a very simple but also kind of crazy dress. I need to get a new word besides crazy. Good morning and welcome to day number 2 of my sewing vlog. Kind of perfectly matched the bookshelf behind me. Where I left off, I had actually basically finished the plaid dress with the tulle sewn over top. Yesterday I sewed bias tape around the hem, around the armholes, and I put a facing in. It's super cute actually. Here's the dress. I actually really love it. I tried it on and it's great. Okay, my facing is light pink, that's why I say it's super cute. And then I have yellow bias tape around the armholes and white bias tape around the hem. So the first thing I'm gonna do today is just sew all that on by hand. Okay, it's been a couple hours. I finished my dress. I'll insert a montage at the end of this video. I'm gonna do my hair up and look a little bit nicer than I look today. I think I'm going to get started on putting the yarn onto this romper. Essentially, I have all of the pieces sewn together, like front bodice sewn onto the front shorts, back bodice sewn onto the back shorts, and I'm going to keep these separate while I sew my vertical plaid stripes. Well, since I'm creating a plaid pattern, I need vertical and horizontal stripes. There's no point in putting all these pieces together when I sew the vertical on, because that would just complicate things. So I'm gonna sew a bunch of yarn in on like basically just vertical stripes. We'll do some different colors, maybe like close together, far apart, close together. You get the gist. And then I'll put them all together and do horizontal stripes, and should be good. The vertical stripes on my first pattern piece are done, and I don't really like it. It feels very 80s Christmassy, like this is what your grandmother's couch looked like when you were a kid. I have hope that adding blue in horizontal stripes will make it look a little bit better. But I'm gonna do my other two panels, and I'll see you when those are complete. Who makes clothes all day, every day? I do understand that I don't dress the most fashionably. It's because I choose convenience over fashion, which is not a good choice to make, but apologies, I am working on that. I also am letting my hair grow out, and it's been completely fried, and that's so completely irrelevant to what I'm about to say, which is that all my pattern pieces have been vertically striped, so I can sew them all together, and I can start on some horizontal stripes, which are gonna be a little bit more complicated because of all these curves that we have going on. But like I said, it's okay if they're not completely horizontal. I think I'll also serge the edges of these pieces, because why not? I'm gonna line the inside of the garment so they're not gonna be visible, but why not make sure they don't fray? Husband and I both drink a lot of coffee. We should probably cut back, but we drink cheap coffee because we drink so much of it. And it comes in these metal canisters. I'm sure you guys have seen them. And it's not even like Folgers, it's just like store brand. But I keep these, and then I use them to save all my serger scraps and like other scraps, because you can use serger scraps to stuff pillows, to stuff garland, star garland, heart garland. So very useful. You can definitely find a use for all of your little scraps. Sewing together the what am I even saying? I'm not sewing together the shoulder seams, just the side seams. Say that 5 times fast. I'm not sewing together the shoulder seams. I'm not sewing together the shoulder seams. This is kind of stupid, but I didn't think about the fact that because I saved all of my horizontal blue stripes for last, they're all gonna be sitting on top of the vertical, which is okay. I just really didn't think about that. So it's not going to be a woven texture. It's just gonna be very two-dimensional. That's cool. It does look nice. I like it a lot better with the horizontal. Just for future, or if you're doing this at home, take that into consideration. I am using a little bit of the brown yarn as well, just to weave in a little bit of the color from underneath the blue into this top layer. Actually be quite cool to just leave it like this. I mean, to not add the horizontal below the waistband, but I think I'll keep adding a little bit more. We'll see how it looks. That's where I'm at so far. After finishing up my horizontal stripes of yarn, I did the same exact finishings on this dress as on my other dress, except for the fact that I had a button placket to add, which is just a vertical strip of fabric that goes along your buttonholes to create a finishing edge so that it looks nice and neat and clean. This piece was fully lined, but I did do facings and binding tape around the armholes and the leg holes. This just made the inside of the garment look as nice as the outside, in my opinion, and I slip stitch everything in place. I chose 7 medium-sized brown buttons and did my buttonholes and sewed my buttons on, and then my romper was complete. There's a cricket that lives in my studio, and he comes up on the audio, I'm fairly certain, all the time, so apologies, but I finished both my dresses. It's such a crazy feeling to have finished 2 things in a couple of days. I haven't done that in a while, so let me show you. Before I show you guys what the dresses look like on me, I really just want to chat about the insides of them, because I had this like minor panic attack slash bout of disillusionment with what I'm doing in my work, and it's because of the insides of my garments. I have this insecurity that I don't really know how to finish things because I use bias tape around the leg holes and the armholes or the hem, and then I just do a facing at the top, and I do understitch, and I've done a lot of research and watched a lot of YouTube videos, but I just feel insecure about the insides of my garments. So I tried really hard to make the insides of these look as nice as possible, and they're fully lined. Well, actually not the tulle dress. The tulle dress is not fully lined, but I don't know, do you guys ever feel that way about projects that you sew? Maybe it's just me. Of course, I'm still learning. Of course, I'm still perfecting as we go. But without further ado, let me show you the dress and the romper. I do see myself wearing this outfit a lot. I feel like a sleek little Christmas lizard. Thank y'all so much for watching. If you're still here at this point in the video, your support and your presence means the world to me. And let me know what you're working on below, because I would genuinely love to know. If you do any kind of similar project to this, please send me a picture. I'm on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok at Jane's Dresses. Instagram is definitely the best place to find me though. Have a lovely day. Thanks for watching.